Behind the scenes, Ethan.
You're really yawn.
You're sleepy.
That's true.
Hey, folks.
Hello.
For our YouTube visitors,
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes with Been Thinking About with Josh.
And Ethan.
And he's...
Alejandro.
Shit.
Be nice to the brass armadillo.
Press Armadillo's not nice to me.
It's true. Because Josh laughs at me. It makes me happy.
Oh.
Ethan never laughs. Ethan's sad.
The armadillos had a couple...
Alejandro likes dark mode. And apple.
I'm sure he would.
Schmiegel.
I think Alejandro's had a monster drink.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, are we ready to do this thing?
I think we are.
Welcome to the State of the Ozarks podcast. This is Josh Heston, Editor-in-Chief.
And this is Ethan Grubal.
And we're talking about our Ozarks.
Your community.
And this episode of Been Thinking About has been brought to you by Stafford's Barbershop and Shave Company, the place for men in downtown Branson.
Blue Rock Printing Company. Upgrade your look.
Shepherd the Musical, rediscovering America's story.
And the Taney County Health Department, creating opportunities for healthy lives in our community.
Good folks. And new folks on there.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Carson and Michaela Van Hooser of Blue Rock Print Company.
Yep.
They do the t-shirts for the festival.
Yeah.
And the t-shirts for Soda Life campaigns.
Yeah.
And the hoodies.
And the hoodies.
Mm-hmm.
What else do they got? Tank tops?
They got all sorts of stuff. And not just, they also do a lot of other printing and design work.
Yeah.
So not just t-shirts, but their t-shirts are epic. So big shout out to them.
This past Soda Fest I ended up with like three t-shirts.
I'm building a wardrobe
Yeah.
of nothing except Soda Life t-shirts.
And then of course the hoodies.
And the hoodies. Yeah, I've got two and we're adding on. So at some point you'll just look in my closet and see nothing except Blue Rock Print Company t-shirts. But that's a good thing. I'll wear them as like underneath blazer jackets and nice pants and stuff.
Right.
It'll be great. It's my new look. Anyway, brand new. Oh, daylight savings time.
Yeah, it's actually light outside.
I know. Wow. And have you recovered?
No.
Okay. Still jet lagged from daylight savings time?
Yes.
I protest daylight savings time. And so, new editorial, new weekly.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we're on iTunes, and folks, a lot of people are probably listening to us on iTunes. But if you're listening to us on the website,
go to iTunes.
Go to iTunes and subscribe.
Yeah.
We'll include that in the tag at the end. But good stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's very exciting.
It is. Our voices, our proud Ozarkian voices, are being broadcast across the interwebs.
Hi, Mom.
Good call. I like that. Oh, and brand new weekly.
Yeah.
Cornbread Dignity.
When I first read the title, I thought that was like an article on my dad and his pride in his cornbread.
His cornbread is really good.
Yeah, it
is. I almost put a cornbread recipe in this weekly instead of blueberry muffins, but I wanted to mix it up.
Yeah.
And those blueberry muffins looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I also thought that if I dropped the blueberry muffin recipe in there, that your dad might make the blueberry muffins. But he didn't. So moving on. Yeah. What did you think of the article, of the editorial?
Well, it was mostly about the Toby show.
Yes, at least that was the starting point.
The starting point. I think it brings to attention the forgotten part of America's history, really. But more focused on the Ozarks with hillbillies, and of course, Silver Dollar City is kind of a
hillbilly epicenter.
Yeah.
Vortex.
Yeah.
Ground zero.
Yeah, it's kind of a glimpse, but obviously from like a comedic standpoint of what life used to be. I mean, you go through and you have the people who, hand make wicker baskets and blacksmiths and stuff like that, and you kind of forget that was actually a thing.
Yeah.
Not too long ago.
Not terribly long ago, and not really that long ago here.
No.
In the Ozarks. And so, as mentioned in the editorial, I got the chance to interview Jay McFerrin, who was part of the Toby Show in the 80s. And we'll have some more specifically objective news soon, but the direction that this is going is that the Toby Show is about to be reborn out at Shepherd of the Hills Farmstead.
Ooh.
Yeah. The space, the theater space up on the hill that you can see from the road, that open air barn,
okay. Yeah.
which is no longer open air.
Really?
Yeah, it's a filled-in, really nice seated venue now. Cool lighting, lots of wood. Got to go in there on Saturday.
Oh, nice.
And look around, and it's looking really good. They're rebuilding the restaurant out there. The restaurant burned down in 2002 and was not replaced.
Yeah, see, I never knew there was a restaurant out there.
Yeah, your dad has stories about the restaurant. I didn't realize there was a restaurant out there, and it was talked to Keith Thurman, who's longtime part of Shepherd of the Hills, the drama.
Oh, okay, the play.
Yeah, and a big part of Shepherd of the Hills, just in terms of being out there and infrastructure and everything. And he said that the restaurant, before it burned down, the restaurant was as popular as Billy Gale's, and that there would be lines of cars on a morning stretching, that people would, line up
Just to go to the restaurant?
Just to go to the restaurant.
Wow. What do they serve, or do you...
Biscuits and gravy.
That's all you need?
Yeah. Fried chicken.
Yeah.
That was, I'm not sure what got to tour, because of course Shepherd of the Hills is a new State of the Ozarks member. So
really?
Yeah. Oh, I hadn't
no, you hadn't told me that one.
Yeah, we got 4 new State of the Ozarks members last week. So,
oh, wow.
And Shepherd of the Hills is one of them. So
that's exciting.
It is. It really is. And got to tour. They're rebuilding a lot of infrastructure out there and making it look really pretty.
Oh, cool.
And really excited about that. So all of this kind of coming together. Jay McFerrin, who is a phenomenal comedic actor, and who trained also under Shad Heller, the blacksmith at Silver Dollar City, who was originally also a comedic actor from long times past. I have his biography book over here.
Oh, okay.
And really neat story. The people who worked with Shad and Molly they loved them. Shad and Molly would adopt young actors and bring them up in this tradition. And this was in the 70s and the 80s. And part of the Toby Show, which we'll get your dad to talk more about, but part of the Toby Show was this hillbilly character named Toby, who would come up against the city slicker ruffians who were getting ready to cheat the hillbillies, the country bumpkins, getting ready to cheat them out of something, their land or whatever. And then at the end of all of this, and amid all of this, there were song and dance skits, and there were goofy jokes, and it was very fast paced and very slapstick, but very specific. And then at the end, we find out that Toby knew all along exactly what was going on. And it was the city slickers who were actually the ones who were completely confused and didn't manage to pull off their hijinks.
So kind of like Hillbilly Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, it is. Hillbilly Scooby-Doo. And something, so there's some interesting tie-ins. One of the things is the Beverly Hillbillies. Mm-hmm. Beverly Hillbillies, to a really large degree, is the Toby Show with the environment reversed. So instead of the city slicker coming to the country, it's the hillbillies going to the city, but the same concept of city slickers thinking they know best.
And then getting schooled by the
the hillbillies,
yeah.
the Hicks. And there's some really... So it really got me thinking. The entire Toby show from 1985 is on YouTube. The entire show. The show was performed at the Cornbread Theater, which is about where Olive Garden is.
Oh.
On the Strip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was really popular. It was really hillbilly. Your dad loved it. And there are a lot of really phenomenal comedic talent performed on that stage. And Shad and Molly shepherded these young talented actors and actresses, oftentimes in their late teens or early 20s, oftentimes just coming out of MSU, from the theater department at MSU. And many of these individuals, Jay McFerrin, Wayne Milnes, they became really extraordinary stage personalities in Branson at that time.
Mm.
But of course, as you know, you can be as famous or as amazing as you want to, but the minute the show closes and you step off stage and have to go to work at a regular job, unless other people will gather and support and celebrate you,
yeah,
that moment is over to a large degree. And that's something that I really want the State of the Ozarks coverage to start doing is finding these individuals who are incredibly talented, that the show that gave them these opportunities may be gone, or in some cases they may be being reborn, but State of the Ozarks is about giving the Ozarks a voice. It's about celebrating people, and I want to find some of these people and feature them.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I want you to watch the video. Of course, you can follow the link.
Yeah, it's on the article.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's on YouTube, so I embedded it on the State of the Ozarks page. So you can watch it there. I do encourage you to follow over onto YouTube and subscribe to that particular channel as well, just to say thank you to them. Protein. Ooh. The many voices of us.
And we're gonna get Dad in here in a second to
Yeah, we'll get him in
to talk more about the Toby show because he knows more than I do.
Yeah, but I'm really postulating this concept. I watched the Toby show. I was kind of absorbing as much of it as I possibly could, and I was asking myself why does this resonate? I mean, this is a cornball hillbilly sketch show from the early 1980s, and I'm watching it, laughing hysterically, going, what is it that resonates? The Toby show dates back well into the 19th century as a concept. Mm-hmm. And it would be small touring groups that would go around rural America like vaudeville, but not vaudeville. That was a correction that is important. And it would follow this basic pattern. And the question is, to me, as I started digging into it, and this is part of the editorial of Cornbread Dignity, is why. And the issue, the point of resonance for the audience watching this is a population of rural Americans who care very, very deeply about their heritage, about the land, about their families, who feel encroached upon and taken advantage or looked down upon by urban Americans. Mm. That is the theme. And you go back in American history, and I talk about a little bit about this. I want to dig a lot more into it. But back in the early 19th century, the early 1800s, President Thomas Jefferson had a vision of an isolated America, an agrarian empire that was peaceful, and you're welcome, and did not overreach its borders, and was a land of essentially prosperous farmers and beautiful farmland.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
It sounds really, really nice. One industrial revolution and three gigantic wars later.
Yeah.
Not to mention the smaller wars in between.
Yeah.
Civil War, World War I, World War II, not to mention the other ones. And and all that never happened.
Yeah.
We saw mass industrialization. We saw an exodus of Americans moving from the country to the city. And that began, in part, it had already begun with the Industrial Revolution, but it really began to massively take hold around the 1940s and during World War II. The industrialization, the modern industrialization of America occurred as part of the war effort for World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the Toby Show preceded World War II. The Toby Show was resonating that feeling of industrial, urbanized America versus agrarian America, and the idea that rural people are simple, they're stupid, they talk funny, they're hicks, we look down on them because they're not as educated as us, when in reality, the rural people had this amazing sense of survival and a sense of place, oftentimes, that an industrialized center could not give. And, of course, after World War II, we see that massively put in place. We see it as part of the educational system. We see it as part of the corporate system. We see it as part and parcel with being an American. And I think that there is an individuality that you lose when you grow up, and rather than being given the opportunity to develop your own identity, and having grown up on a farm, a small farm, but still having grown up on a farm, having grown up on a farm, when you're, and also proudly homeschooled, when you're out at all times of day and night taking care of animals, you're spending a lot of time packing buckets of water. You're spending time in the timber. You're spending time in the garden. You're looking at the seasons change. You're looking at the stars. You're watching all of this stuff. I think over time it develops a point of introspection where you have to say, who the heck am I? And I have to make that decision. Mm-hmm. That decision is not going to be made by a system. I have to make that decision for myself. Of course, this is an idealized version. There's lots of sides of this, but we have a situation where we have an educational system that says do this. We have a governmental system that says do this. We have a job system that says do this. If you want to be a successful American, you're going to have a 4-year degree. You're going to get married, settle down in the suburbs with 2.3 children in a 2-car garage, and you're going to work at a nice job for 30 years, and then you're going to retire. And there's your life. And I think that human beings aren't programmed to be that systematic. And I think there's something inside people who say, wait a second, I want to be an individual. Mm-hmm. And there's something about the Toby Show, and there's something about Toby from a pastoral sense, the hillbilly, and it's a myth, but it's a myth that resonates, and I think the best myths are true. The hillbilly has extraordinary freedom as a myth. He lives in a hillside shack. Doesn't matter what his yard looks like. Homeowners Association doesn't exist. He can pick his hours. He can lay in the shade, drink moonshine, run the hounds at night, sit on the front porch and whittle. He can sit on the front porch with his friends and they can play fiddle music. And I'm talking about the myth. Yeah. But there's a reason we have myths, because the myths resonate for some reason or another. And I think that in a world that's told that we're supposed to work in cubicles and essentially in the suburbs live in cubicles, all our houses look alike, all our kids look alike, everything looks alike, that to Middle America going through this shift, the hillbilly represented a sense of personal freedom. And I think that the Toby Show captured that in fun. And then more than that, I think that places like Silver Dollar City, Shepherd of the Hills, Harold Bell Wright's story as a whole of individuality and trying to find meaning in oneself and all of these things, they're various facets of this story. And I think that underlying everything else is the identity that Branson, beginning with Shepherd of the Hills and Silver Dollar City, was able to capture and market to Middle America to get people to come here to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on a roll.
Yeah, I noticed.
Oh, I'm very passionate about this. And I think the thing that I'm really passionate about is that the hillbilly motif that you grew up with, like, okay, that I came and discovered when I was 20 and went, oh my gosh, I want to be part of this. I've always wondered why.
Mm-hmm. Well, growing up in the area, and you know, the hillbilly culture was, at that point, it was almost like it was a joke.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I saw it. It was just, you know, supposed to, the whole idea of a hillbilly was just for slapstick comedy,
Mm-hmm.
Not to be taken seriously, intentionally dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, you dig a little deeper, and you know, the folks who founded this area, you know, they were creative,
Yes.
and witty, and
Very resilient.
This is not an ideal place to live.
No,
I mean,
no, it's hard to make a living out of a pile of rocks.
Exactly.
Unless you're selling rocks, and they're hard to ship because they're kind of heavy.
So, you know, while hillbillies might not have formal education,
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense that they may have more life experience. And
Yes.
stuff like that.
And sometimes that I think, and I'm still working on this, but I think the point of resonance is the independence.
Mm-hmm.
And if you grow up in the mountains, you do learn that independence.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's get your dad in here to
All right.
talk about the Toby Show.
All right.
What? I mean, it's a reference.
Yes.
Because everything that you said, as far as like the Toby Show doing,
Mm-hmm.
like, where we are now,
Yes.
there's this empty void of that Toby Show voice.
Yes.
When right now, that's what people want is the same thing again,
Mhm.
the independence.
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like what you're saying is again attractive. That would be.
I think so.
So I'm just wondering why hasn't that happened yet? Like,
yeah. I think it's
I don't know. Anyways,
waiting for the stars to align.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'll just tell me.
Mhm.
This is just a reference for the time that you're going. So okay.
Mr. Dale Grubaugh,
Hi there.
we're glad to have you back in the State of the Ozark studio.
It's good to be back in here.
Well, you're in the State of the Ozark studio on a regular basis.
No, that's true.
But one of the things I love, of course, you are a publisher of State of the Ozarks.
Yes.
But one of the things that makes you great at your job is that you have been integral in the Branson history and the Branson show history, and a part of this whole scene for a really long time.
Yeah, I'm one of those silent people in there. I've been a part of it, nobody knows it.
More burping. All that protein shake
Yeah.
that I drank earlier. Don't drink a protein shake before a podcast, people. You will burp. Burp. I want to land on this for a moment. Of course, you were a street character at
Yes.
Silver Dollar City, and of course, you were on stage professionally in Branson for
Yes.
many years as well. What is it like to be Branson famous, if I can use that term, and then off stage?
Oh gosh, what is it like to be Branson famous? I don't know that I've ever really considered myself to be Branson famous. You know, I mean, I know that, you know, because of working out at Silver Dollar City, there was a lot of people who had recognized me, you know, in the restaurants and whatever, and working, of course, on stage. A lot of people would recognize me in other places, but, you know, I never considered myself to be famous. I just, I enjoyed the stage. and I enjoyed the people.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the notoriety. You know, sometimes it got a little annoying, but I don't know if I can say that or not. But I just did. But it was kind of cool, you know, in a sense that you know, people recognized me, saw me, knew me because of you know, the entertainment and the fact that, you know, for a little while out of their vacation, I allowed them to. That made them laugh or cry or whatever, you know, happened to be happening at that time. So, you know, that's what it was like, I guess. You know, and it still is. There's still people who come up and you know, say, "I remember when," "Are you still doing?" and those kind of things. One time, my mother got a little upset a little bit. She says, "Some of these people know more about you than I do." Well, okay, fine. They think they know a lot about me.
And there's a difference.
There is a difference.
So let's talk about Toby Show. You and I got to watch the YouTube video.
Yes, we did.
Brought back a lot of memories for you.
Yes.
And, of course, you got to see the Toby Show live and in person.
Yes, I did. And I've never laughed so hard in all my life as I did watching the Toby Show. And I went frequently, you know. And I loved to watch Jay, and I loved to watch Wayne Milnes, and Shad and Molly. And Jenna Henlaven, oh my gosh, they were hysterical people, you know. And of course, I worked with them out at Silver Dollar City as well, you know. And then to come there in the evening and watch them perform that, it was amazing, you know. And to sit out under the stars on the stumps and the slatted seats that they had out there, it was just, you know, it was a lot of fun.
So it was an open air.
Yeah, open air theater.
What was the theater like?
Well, it was called the Corn Crib Theater, of course, and it set out there in 76, west of out there. You know, kind of just pulled up and, you know, went through a little gate where you bought your ticket and found a stump to sit on or a plank to sit on, and you just sat there and ate your popcorn, drank your soda pop, and laughed till you cried or wet your pants. Almost said peed. I don't know if I said that or not.
That's, I don't think we'll get on iTunes explicit list for that word.
Okay,
so
good.
I think we're good. To me, this seems like, and of course I wasn't there for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never been to Branson at that time. Of course, oh wait, I was only like 4 years old. But at the same time, this seems like a quintessential hillbilly entertainment experience that was honest.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes. Just very honest. It was a lot of good, clean hilarity. I don't want to say comedy. It was hilarity, you know. And especially when the folks that started ad-libbing, you know, you get there, you go enough, you get to know, you know, kind of what was gonna. I don't think I was stalking them, but I really enjoyed going and laughing.
So this was a show that would change because of the ad-libs.
Yeah.
So it was not so formulaic that you knew everything that was going to happen.
Yeah, no, there was room for some variety in there.
That's good.
And with Jay and Wayne, there was always variety.
I can imagine that part. I really can. So with this, I think I want to dig more into this, not on this podcast, but I want to dig more into this. Hillbilly as parody, that you're watching it and you're going, wow, they're really stupid, or hillbilly as an exaggeration of human individuality in the mountains.
I think when I watched, and still when I think about it, I don't think of the hillbilly mystique as being unintelligent, because they were, you know. I just saw them as being, you know, many times shrewd.
And of course, that's a big part of the Toby Show.
Yep.
Subtext.
Yes. And a lot of fun, you know, just a lot of fun. They, you know, yes, we made fun of the hillbilly, but actually it was the hillbilly who was having the most fun by, you know, making these people laugh and making them the goobs as such. And that is, as one fellow used to say, I'm laughing all the way to the bank.
And I know who you're talking about
Yeah.
too. With that, do you think there's a division between individuals, particularly folks from Missouri and Arkansas, who have grown up in the hills, became comedians here, and then are representing hillbillies on stage, as opposed to companies or individuals coming in from outside saying, hey, we're going to pretend to be hillbillies because that makes us money? What do you think? You've been around this town a
Yeah,
long time.
I have been, and it's, the one thing that I've noticed though is that those individuals who come in and try to pretend to be us usually don't last very long. It's the genuine folks who know the truth about those of us who live in the hills and who've been around in the Ozarks. So the pretenders usually just don't last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
I think that was how our conversation actually began.
Yeah, I think it was.
Back when you interrogated me on my intentions with your Ozarks.
That's right. That's right.
Back in
That
October
was
of 2008.
2008.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was either October. It was October.
It was October 2008.
Yeah, took some pretty pictures that month too.
Yes, we did.
The
Or you did. I didn't think anyway.
So, of course, with our recording date of March 11th, Silver Dollar City opens up on Wednesday. Certainly the epicenter of a lot of this.
Yes.
And we've got an article on Silver Dollar City, Jim Barrett's memories of Silver Dollar City, with a lot of photos that I've taken out there. And we're heading out there this week, I do believe.
Could be. There's a good chance of it anyway.
I'm looking forward to getting back to the city.
Yeah.
I know there's been obviously a lot of changes over the last 30 years at Silver Dollar City, but there's still something magical.
Oh, yes. For me, it's, it's going to sound strange, but it's the smell of the street that just brings back such fond memories. I started working out there in 1975. I worked on the parking lot. I wore my little ranger uniform and a park ranger uniform with a little Sanborn hat and the belt and all this other stuff, and drove the trams and conducted the trams and parked the cars, and I had a great time with that. And then through the years, different things, I progressed all the way to the street troupe, then to performing as a special guest with a band called Surely Goodness and Mercy, which was 38-year veterans of the Fall Festival. And
Which is why you were out there when we met.
yes, that's how we met. I was performing with that band out there.
And and Silver Dollar City is a theme park. It is a corporate business. It is a place of it's a vacation point for millions of people. It's also a place, and I know this sounds really cheesy because of course their tagline is making memories worth repeating. You and I both, separately and since founding State of the Ozarks, have a lot of memories
Yes.
out there. It's not a lie.
No.
And of course, individually and even, officially, I can't say that every large company in Branson that we agree with everything that they do at all times
Yeah.
by any stretch of the imagination. And of course, Silver Dollar City is no exception to that. Is the thing that is very comforting to me is, as an employee during your stint, that you didn't lose the magic.
No, the magic was still there, and in some instances it's still there. I really think that during the time that I worked on more of a full-time basis with him, that Silver Dollar City was more of a themed park than it is now. And I understand that they need to do what they need to do to make their dollar, but I do miss some of the really, when it was a theme park, there were some really strict rules that we had to adhere to, from footwear to eyeglasses to pocket watches to, what we carried around to drink with, and I mean, you had to be careful about what you talked about, if you saw someone, using one of those home movie cameras or you couldn't stand there and talk to them about, what kind of aperture they were doing, it was a picture box, and those kind of things. So,
so it was creating an all-encompassing
yes.
experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really was.
And a big part of that was the front line.
Mm-hmm.
You guys as characters.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. And, there for a while, I had the job that every third grader who ever goes through the turnstiles, had. I was part of the street troupe. I was doing the gunfights and the little street shows, and those were the people that I admired most when I was a kid. And I said I wanted to be one. God allowed me to be one of them for a time, and I really enjoyed that time out there.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your
Thank
your thoughts and memories, and
Yeah.
good to have you back in here.
Jim's recollection went back a whole lot, more than mine did, but I enjoyed his article, but I enjoy my memories of Silver Dollar City.
And that's what counts.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dale.
Thanks. Okay, Mr. Hobo.
I remember that. I don't know if they do that anymore.
What?
You'd have a phone or something, and they go, "What is that?" I remember that. So I don't even know if they do that anymore.
I'm not sure.
But as a kid, it was like
It was a
it's
big.
weird.
Mhm.
You're like, whoa, made you think it was real, kind of.
Oh, Mr. Ethan.
Yep.
You're back.
I am.
I'm glad to have you back in the State of the Ozarks studio.
Yeah.
Silver Dollar City.
That's right.
I know. You've got some good memories, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah.
One or two.
A couple maybe.
With all the time your dad was out there working.
Yeah, I spent a lot of my younger years hanging around Silver Dollar City. Like, probably a good, maybe 5-6 times a year, depending
Yeah.
on how often they needed him out there. Because, of course, he was part of the gospel group, the Surely Goodness and Mercy.
Yeah.
And then occasionally he would
Oh, you also preach.
He would
at
preach in the
Wilderness
Wilderness Church. And I remember, I think I mentioned this before, but, a couple of Sundays of the year, we'd go to church and then walk outside and go ride a roller coaster.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good times. I'm gonna head out there this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The city opens this Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's soon, huh?
Yeah, really soon. And I have a season pass this year.
Ooh.
So happy to have that back.
Yeah, that's nice.
I know. And so speaking of roller coasters, you want to go ride roller coasters with me?
I do not do roller coasters.
We can change that.
We can. It's an option,
Uh-huh.
just not a likely one.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
We won't start with Outlaw Run.
Okay.
We'll start with Thunderation.
See, I've done Thunderation before.
Uh-huh.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll build up. Wildfire.
I can do the swinging ship if that's still there. I don't know.
It is
Okay.
still there. It is still there. Wildfire's my favorite.
I don't know. It's just the like when it churns your stomach.
Uh-huh.
That bothers me.
Yeah.
That's my big thing.
I went for a long time without riding roller coasters at all, ever.
Uh-huh.
And then the very, first time I made up my mind I was going to ride Thunderation.
Mm.
And I got on right after eating this big bowl of calico potatoes.
Ooh.
And then they put me in backwards.
Yeah.
In the
they
backwards
used
car
to do
that's
that.
not there anymore. They don't have
Yeah.
the backwards cars
Yeah.
now. And got in, and I was ridiculously terrified, and got off, and then felt like I was going to hurl for the next 3 hours, and went, nope, not going to do that. Went for another 5 years, and people would be like, "Hey, you want to ride Wildfire?" And I'm like, "Hey, no." and and then I finally decided, I'm going to try this. So it was after they'd opened up the kiddie rides.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the height I am now.
Yeah.
And I went and got on the little kid roller coaster. And went around. And my knees were like up to my chest.
Yeah.
Did that. Then I'm like, okay. Now I'm ready. So then I went and got on Thunderation. Forward.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm good with this. Then I went and got on Wildfire. This was all like back to back.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely terrifying, but I loved it.
See, because I remember my first memory of being on a roller coaster was Thunderation backwards, and it was during Silver Dollar City's Christmas thing, so it was at nighttime.
Oh, that's intense.
So, and I was 7 or 8, something like that. And
Yeah.
after that, I'm like, nope,
Nope.
not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it.
I've ridden roller coasters before, just
Yeah.
back when Celebration City was out there.
Oh, yeah. Did you ride the Wildcat?
Wildcat.
Wow.
Yeah,
I never got...
I rode Wildcat because I was just barely tall enough to get on.
Yeah.
And my sisters dragged me on there.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm noticing a pattern because they were also the ones who dragged me on to Thunderation the first time.
Yeah.
But you know they dragged me on Wildcat and I hated it.
Okay.
The whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We won't start with Outlaw Run.
Okay.
I love Outlaw Run, but I have to psych myself up for it.
But I enjoy going to Silver Dollar City. Yeah,
Yes.
there's more things to do there than just roller coasters.
True. Like eat.
Yeah. That's probably one of my favorite things to do at Silver Dollar City.
Yeah.
But you know, one of the things that always sticks out to me is the smell.
Yes.
Like especially that big hill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, it just smells like hot asphalt, but for some reason it always reminds me of
It
Silver Dollar
smells
City.
special.
It smells like...
It smells different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why either. Maybe it's the trees.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I do know that on a really, really hot afternoon, because there's so many oak trees out there, that the oak trees themselves give off a smell
Oh, really?
that is really unique. And of course it's unique for theme parks because most theme parks do not have that many trees.
No. So, yeah, that's what always reminds me. Just, you know, something... I'll be driving around with my windows down on a hot day and just catch a whiff and be like, smell the Silver Dollar City.
Oh, we're obsessing over the city.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It's a big part. It's been a big part of all three of our lives.
No kidding.
On many levels, and of course a big part of the lives of everyone, one way or another, even as an economic driver here in White River country.
Yeah.
Shepherd of the Hills country. And it's going to be fun.
Yeah, because a lot of people take their vacation specifically to go to Silver Dollar City.
Yes, very, very true. And you know, I think we're gonna definitely see a big bump up in folks in town starting halfway through this week.
Oh yeah,
because it's going to bring in a lot of people.
Oh, definitely. Like it's showing at work, like
Is
projection wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know how the season runs.
Yeah.
It's the operating schedule of Silver Dollar City. Oh my gosh. So, to learn more, visit us on stateoftheozarks.net.
Sign up for the State of the Ozarks weekly email.
Like State of the Ozarks on Facebook.
Follow at Soto Media on Twitter.
Subscribe to Soto Media on YouTube.
Follow us on Instagram at State of the Ozarks.
And subscribe to this Been Thinking About podcast on iTunes. Thank you for listening to Been Thinking About, the State of the Ozarks podcast with Josh.
And Ethan.
And this is our Ozarks.
Your community.
Dude, you and your dad said the same thing.
Really?
About the smell. Me too.
Yeah.
It's the smell. It's the fried, powdered.
The funnel
The
cake.
It's the funnel cake. The sounds. The
Uh-huh.
smell of that.
The fried funnel
The
cakes.
the smell of the
fried people.
and then the hot asphalt. But it's the same for me.
Yeah.
And the sound of the train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
that with the smell
I
of the
know.
asphalt.
Yeah. We sound like we're just advertising Silver Dollar City.
But when you, especially if you grew up around here, or if you've lived
Yeah.
here for any, reasonable amount of time,
Mhm.
Silver Dollar City is a huge part of your life, whether you've been there or not.
Very true. you can't escape the reality of it, so you
Yeah.
might as well just roll with it. Oh my gosh. And not on the podcast, we can do this on the behind the scenes. State of the Ozarks wouldn't exist were it not for Silver Dollar City.
Yeah.
I came down here and, I'm still friends with people that I met the first 2 times I went to Silver Dollar City. It's absolutely amazing. So, no place is perfect.
No.
But it is still a special mountain.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very special mountain. we'll catch you guys soon. Don't forget to subscribe and click the little notification button.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, guys.